Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tech Break by Friday, the podcast where we explore all things about AI and tech. I'm really excited to share this episode with you. I had the idea for a long time back, but I never actually published it. Something always came up a new topic, something else at work, then I was a bit confused and I wanted to cover something else. So, yeah, you kind of understand. So, today we talk about MCP. So, when it really took off this year, especially when really cool people start building really cool things, um, I think if you have never heard it, you might have been living under a rock. So let's see what is MCP and how it's used. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol and is an open standard protocol that enables AI models and applications to seamlessly connect and interact with external tools, data sources, or services, making AI workflows more flexible and powerful. So think of it like a universal USB port for AI apps to plug into other software. Like, um, for example, if you had an AI agent and you would have to write an API to connect it to your Gmail and another API to connect it basically to your Google Drive, and it would be completely different. Now you can write a specific API for your MCP and basically use the MCP to connect to your LLM. But let's see basically how the MCP architecture is actually designed. It's designed as the client server model. So you might have heard this model from web applications before. Here are the core components. So the MCP client has embedded AI applications or models. Imagine like LLMs or IDEs like Cloud Desktop, which is an AI IDE, or Cursor, or chatbot systems. The client initiates MCP requests to access external tools. Basically, it can access tools like Google Search, Gmail, Brave, which is another browser to search, and tools like this. So another thing that the client does is it handles serialization, deserialization of requests. Basically, it transforms the request to a serialized version most closer to JSON to be sent through a request via the internet. And in its responses, uses using the MCP's JSON RAPC protocol. We will not go more into what is JSON RPC protocol is. Like we will move on with the MCP architecture. But if you want to know more, let me know, and I will might do a post or a bonus episode about it. So another thing that the MCP client does is that it manages application over support transports, like local IPC, like internal inter-process communication, or remote HTTP HTTPS requests. Imagine it like a link to give to your request, like whatever you do to also access a website remotely. So what does the MCP server does? It exposes a set of standardized or custom tools or apps or services as callable functions. So it serves like an interface endpoint. So it's the interface of all these tools, and your agent, instead of connecting to all of these tools separately, you can connect to your MCP server, and then your MCP server just connects to everything. Like you don't have to do the connection again and again, if that makes sense. So you can cure your Gmail like this, like take your messages, read your emails, maybe also like summarize them if you want to include Gemini as well, searching the web, accessing databases. Imagine that it exposes all features and tools into a link, and they can be used by your AI application. It returns results back to your MCP client in some sort of expected format, and then you can actually read them and see what's going on. Third, we will talk about the communication protocol of MCP. So as we said before, it uses JSON RPC for standardized remote procedure calls. This includes method calls, parameters, structured result formats to allow easy integration, MCP supports both local transports like Unix sockets or named pipes for performance, and remote HTTPS requests like for distributed deployments. The above allows all the above allows basically a two-level communication, which is secure between the tools and the LLM. The tool definitions and the metadata, like in your MCP server and your MCP client, you can define the tools and the metadata of the tool. So why this is useful? Your MCP servers can advertise all the available tools and services with their metadata. So this describes exactly why the LLM would use the specific tool. For example, it would also describe capabilities that the tool had, required parameters, security requirements, and access scopes. Like if I wanted to connect my MCP server to Archive, for example, like I did for the mini project that I'm showing you below, basically it doesn't require authorization, but I can take a look at the papers. I can get a single paper, I can get a list of papers. So this basically tells to the agent, okay, this tool has these features. And this is what it actually does. It does it dynamically, so it expects the client to know how to ask for help and what to expect. Like for example, if I was telling my LLM, can you please research the archive papers from this date until like from today until like week back. So what it would do is it would know that, okay, I'm looking for research papers. It would try to call the archive tool, and then it would not get the functionality that returns only one specific paper, but it will try to research for more papers. As I'm trying to give an example in order to make it more understandable for you guys. So the final, but I think the most important layer is the security layer of the protocol. So MCP includes considerations for authorization, authentication, and secure access policies to prevent misused and unauthorized calls. So to services that they require authorization, like your Gmail, like your Google Drive, this is really important because you cannot allow an LLM to edit your Gmail account or delete messages or delete threads without you being authorized and authenticated. So you need security for this kind of tools and processes, and especially like for even more tools, but this is just a simple example, I would say. Enterprises may also layer additional security frameworks on top. For them, security, it's also a bigger issue. If they get hacked, they lose a lot of money and trust from the people. So I would say that this is more important for them. So if you want to check the community servers that they were built by really cool people and they are ready to use, you can check the link below. I will leave a link for the MCP server repository on GitHub, and you can take a look and see what has been built, or maybe you can find an idea that you want to build. So why does this matter? Like why MCP matters? Before MCP, integrating AI with external tools was complex and custom built for its service. This caused inefficiencies, as you can imagine, because okay, now I have to write a new way to connect my agent if I'm using a different framework for this specific framework again and again and again, even though I might have used this tool multiple times before. So MCP basically standardizes, and it's widely adopted by the AI tech leaders, as you might have seen recently this year, enabling more streamlined and modular workflows. So another thing that I would like to discuss with you today is a bit about the security and the feature of MCP. So as MCP becomes more popular for AI systems to connect with external tools, as we mentioned before, and services, security is a top priority. And this happens because there are connections that we often use that involve sensitive data like emails, documents, and private information like data from people that actually we shouldn't expose on the internet publicly. So some security risks come up when there are not proper safeguards, and malicious actors could exploit MCP connections to gain unauthorized access. They could steal data or manipulate AI systems into performing harmful tasks. So, how MCP addresses this? The protocol is being designed and improved with strong security measures such as authorization, only allowing trusted users or apps to access specific tools, authentication, verifying and identify of clients and servers before sharing data. So before it even if it even try to share the data between the client and the server, it tries to verify the identity of both. So it's some sort of let's say pre-step of security that it enables. Access protocol, so it limits the access to actions that are connected to each tool that it can perform. For example, you can say that, okay, I don't want this tool to perform every access. Let's say for Gmail, for example, I only want my Gmail tool to only read messages. I don't want it to delete. I don't want to do anything else. Only that. So you can also like edit that in your setup, in your configuration. Another thing is encryption. So it protects the data as it travels between AI and tools. And there are also enterprise-grade frameworks, like MCP has been adopted more from robust security guidelines, and it's used by large companies to make it safe and scalable for business use, so organizations can confidently use MCP for critical workflows. I think in the future, MCP will continue to evolve with new security technologies and standards, making AI to tool integration not only easier, but also safer as it grows more widespread. So let's dive into the beginner MCP project that I designed. I tried to make it as simple as possible so everyone could follow it. And then if you guys want to explore more, you can visit the platform. You can share it with your friends. And yeah, if you like, you can build cool tools with them. So join aci.dev to find incredible tools and get to know MCP for your first project. So I'm not sponsored by aci.dev, but I have met the founder before. So I think it's a really cool tool and a really cool platform to integrate your agents with your tools. So give them a test and find out if that's also something that you would like to use. So some prerequisites for the project is that you need to get an API key from aci.dev. You can do that by creating an agent for your project, and basically you get the API key from there, and you need to install the UV package manager. I have put the commands and whatever you need to run on the blog post on Substack. So step one is to run the MCP app server on ACI dev. So the apps server MCP server exposes selected app functions. This is something that you will have to do. So you will have to go to your apps section and choose the apps that you want your agent to have access to. For example, you can choose Brave Search, Gmail, Archive. Like I used Archive because it was something that it was easy to set up for this project. You can configure then your AI IDE, like for example Cloud Desktop or Cursor or whatever other platform that you like to use. And you will have to run the commands with the API keys and to run your MCP server. Of course, you will replace your wherever I write API key, your actual API key. And step 3 is actually use it live. Like start with the MCP server, your client. You will have access to the app functions that you have customized through the dashboard, and you can test it by making queries or commands that trigger those app functions. So I tested it by making a test query to the archive tool. Like basically I said search archive for recent papers on machine learning, or I was executing like with an MCP call, like I was writing select papers that had this keyword like LLM. So these are some ways to test your MCP server configuration for your first project and maybe like get some sort of like welcoming footsteps into this world. So that's all for today's episode of Tech Break by Friday. If this has resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your experiences with MCP, maybe what you have built, maybe if you shared it with your friends, and reach out to our Instagram to grow our community there. I use my the podcast Instagram community as something that okay, we can all go and see pictures and videos that are relevant about AI and tech. If you would like to follow us there and keep commenting, please do. Or email us at techbreakbyfriday@gmail.com to ask us a question, and I will answer it maybe for you on the next podcast. If you would like me to do so, I will do. So until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep building.